Rob, the blue collar guy, coming at you from the great state of Florida, where there's no state income tax, no helmet laws, and you can buy a gun at a guitar shop. Liberty, baby. Today I'm coming at you with something shocking, very disturbing, and hard to believe. But I promise you, I've done my research and it's true. As always, I encourage you to do your own research. Margaret Sanger said this. She said, "Colored people are human weeds and they need to be exterminated." Who is Margaret Sanger? She's the founder of Planned Parenthood, or as some people call it, Planned Parenthood. She's also the founder of the Negro Project. The Negro Project was started in the 30s with the purpose of exterminating the black race through sterilization. Margaret Sanger was also a frequent speaker at Ku Klux Klan rallies, where she wrote in her biography that she really enjoyed talking to the Klan because they had the most enthusiastic crowds. Now, what I want to present to you is the evidence. Was the Negro Project successful? Is the Negro Project still going on? There's a lot of facts and figures, and I don't want to get my percentages wrong, so I normally come at you straight from the heart and just tell you what's on my mind, shooting at the hip. But today I'm going to have some notes, so please forgive me if I look down and look at my notes a little bit. So, did they accomplish their goal? Has the Negro Project worked for Planned Parenthood and Margaret Sanger? Well, you be the judge. The black population is 13% in the United States. The blacks are 35% of the abortions. They account for 35% of the abortions. In New York City, more black babies are aborted than born. The black community is the only minority group that is in decline in this country. So I think Margaret Sanger and Planned Parenthood are pretty successful at achieving their goals. How do they achieve this goal? Well, at a meeting to the Negro Project representatives back in the day, Margaret Sanger had a plan. She said, and I quote, "We need to hire a couple black ministers who have engaging personalities and use them to convince black mothers that killing their babies actually help their race in the long run." So they hired a few black ministers to support Planned Parenthood and the Negro Project. And today, I believe they still have black ministers on their side. Case in point, Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson. They're both bought and paid for by Planned Parenthood. They support Planned Parenthood 110%. They always back Planned Parenthood whenever Planned Parenthood is under attack. Another strategy Margaret Sanger had, and Planned Parenthood is following today, 80% of Planned Parenthood clinics are in black communities. But Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton isn't their strongest black leader they have. There was a state senator a few years back who was the only senator in his state to oppose the Baby Born Alive Infant Protection Act. So what was the Baby Born Alive Infant Protection Act? In this particular state, this nurse went before her state senate and told this story. She said she was a nurse in a major hospital and she was assisting a doctor during an abortion. The mom was around 6 months pregnant. She said that was pretty common. She said, but what was uncommon was the baby was born alive. So as protocol, the doctor took the baby and threw it in a trash can. The nurse heard the baby crying, picked up the baby, went to the doctor and said, "Doctor, this baby's still alive and it's crying. Do something." The doctor said, "No, I can't. It's marked for abortion. Put it back in the garbage." The nurse walked away and held that baby for the next 45 minutes while the baby slowly died. When the state senate in that particular state heard this, they were appalled and passed a law, the Baby Born Alive Infant Protection Act. So now, in that state, if a baby is born alive during an abortion, the doctor has to save it and let it live. The only state senator to vote against it was bought and paid for by Planned Parenthood, and his name was Barack Obama. The state was Illinois, and he was a state senator. Look it up. This is true. But in all fairness, Barack Obama isn't the only politician bought and paid for by Planned Parenthood. Hillary Clinton recently said, while she was at a Planned Parenthood meeting that was honoring Margaret Sanger, their founder, Hillary Clinton said this: "I admire Margaret Sanger greatly. I am in awe of Margaret Sanger." So how come the press hasn't asked Hillary about this? How come they give Barack Obama a pass on this? Well, while you're asking yourself this question, ask yourself another question. Why hasn't the press asked Hillary about supporting her husband Bill when he put a Confederate star on the Arkansas state flag to honor the Confederate flag? And while we're on the subject of the Confederate flag, you may ask, what's Rob, the blue collar guy, think of it? I think it should come down. We're the United States of America. The United States fought the Confederate States. The United States won. I don't make up the rules. When a country wins, their flag gets raised. You know, our boys over in Iraq and Afghanistan aren't dying for the Confederate flag. I'm sorry. They're dying for the American flag. We're one nation under God, the United States, not the divided states. So that's my stance. You know, I live in Florida. I probably got a lot of my friends just mad at me, but, you know, that's how I see it from a blue-collar guy perspective. So, getting back on topic here, like I said, I got so much, I just don't want to miss nothing. Why are these people getting a pass? Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, all these people are getting a pass. Not only them, Robert Byrd, you may not know the name, but Robert Byrd, he died a couple of years back, I'm not sure, maybe 3-4 years ago. That I don't have the date written down, but while he was alive, he was the third-ranking member of the Democratic Party. He was a high-ranking senator. So what's so special about Robert Byrd? Robert Byrd was a grand wizard in the Ku Klux Klan. Robert Byrd fought vigorously against civil rights. He fought vigorously against the voting rights law in the 60s. Robert Byrd was another devout racist in the Democrat Party. And when he got older and got asked about it, he's like, well, you know, I was young, I made some mistakes. But it wasn't like he was just a guy who joined the Ku Klux Klan out of peer pressure. He was a grand wizard. He was a leader. He admits he recruited 150 of his racist friends to start a whole new chapter in West Virginia. So this guy was a hardcore racist. And you say, well, he changed, whatever. Well, in 2000, I believe it was like 2004, as recently as 2004, he was on Fox News and he dropped the N-word like 4 or 5 times. Just think about that. If this was a pro-life Republican with the background of being a grand wizard of the Ku Klux Klan on Fox News using the N-word, dude, that guy would be destroyed. Instead, Robert Byrd retired as a United States Senator, was praised at his funeral by all the Democrats. So why are all these people getting a pass? This is outrageous. This is outrageous. Another, Al Gore's father. Al Gore, the climate control guy, Al Gore's father was another member of the Ku Klux Klan. You got to dig real deep for that because he wasn't a leader or nothing. He was just a member. But you can look at his voting record, and he filibustered. He tried to stop civil rights. He tried to stop the Voting Rights Act. He was another devout racist. Al Gore Sr., look this up. On the other side of the aisle was George Bush's father fighting for civil rights. 80% of the Republicans voted in favor of civil rights. Only 60% of the Democrats voted in favor of civil rights. Why does the media have everybody confused? Why is the media making the Confederate flag out to be a Republican problem? Make no mistake, the Confederate flag was raised in 1961 by a Democratic governor, Democrat Ernest Fritz Holland. It was taken down yesterday by a Republican governor, Nikki Haley. So don't let the media confuse you. Look at the facts and see who the racists are, the people that are trying to destroy the black population. So why is the media giving all these people a pass? Why is Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson giving these people a pass? Why aren't they going after them? I submit to you that the news media and the Democratic Party support the Negro Project. How do we defeat this? The way we defeat every other evil in this country. From the home, it starts and it finishes in the ballot box. In the home, we teach our children and our grandchildren the value of human life. In the ballot box, we refuse to vote for any candidate who is not pro-life. That may mean standing up against your parents and your grandparents and taking a stand for life. And when they say, how could you vote that way? You say, because black baby lives matter. And I'm standing up for life. If we can't even protect babies' lives and a black genocide from happening, every other issue is minuscule. But the good news is this: the science is here. There's no more denying the science. They can't tell us, oh, it's just a bunch of cells. No, the science proves that life begins at conception. Look at the science. Don't listen to the rhetoric. Look at the real science. Life begins at conception. If something is growing, something is living. So then the old argument of these feminists used to be, oh, well, it's not viable outside the mother's womb. The baby is healthy. It's just on life support. It would be like a healthy 2-year-old baby on life support. Does any state allow you to take it off for convenience? Heck no. So we have the science on our side, and we have the moral argument on our side. And I truly and honestly believe, before I die, this will be outlawed. One day our children will look back on abortion like we look back on slavery and say, wow, how did they allow it for so many years? So remember, stand up for life and vote pro-life.